Oh, yeah, we have a show to do.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, something like that.
This is Joey from the So Wizard Podcast, and you are listening to the Geek World All-Stars Podcast Network.
Welcome to the continued podcast adventures of Superhero Speak.
But I think many of the people that love this character and that love superheroes in general have used these stories as inspiration to say, you know what? I'm going to do something good in the world. I'm going to make a difference like my hero when I was a kid.
That is my fondest memory of it, because when you're doing comic books, you want them to affect people.
Right.
You want people to care. You want to strike emotions. And I knew that Clone Saga was striking a lot of emotions.
Can you imagine Pulp Fiction starring Goofy and Mickey Mouse?
I can totally imagine that.
I'm sure somebody's written that one
quarter pounder with cheese and France, Mickey. What? Boy, ale with cheese. Yeah, I can totally.
See?
I would watch the hell out of that movie.
Yes, I gladly sacrifice that my progeny to you, almighty Marvel beast.
But Neil Adams is somewhere going, it's my time.
How do you measure success? Hey everyone, welcome to the Gluten Gab Hour. Oh wait, no. This is Superhero Speak, and I'm your host, Dave.
And John.
And kiss my ass.
See, I'm normally the one that's perturbed, but apparently JD, caught something from me, and now he's got his own day of reckoning, so.
I have celiac disease. It's a real thing. If I eat gluten, I poop a lot, and it's not fun. And Dave decided to be a comedian.
Well,
wow.
Yeah, he keeps deciding it. Never quite makes it, but.
Oh!
Thank you. So, speaking of ruining things, Skywalker. No. We have to get through something first.
Let's just say, hey, how's everyone doing? You know, JD, you apparently have had a bad day.
Not been the best day. I gave you guys the blow by blow. I'm not gonna make everyone listen to that, but I've had better days.
Okay, I hope you had a better week.
It's only Monday. It can only get worse.
Oh, that's true.
Oh, good grief.
It can always get better.
It could, but it won't.
All right. How about you, John?
My brother has been visiting all weekend, so we have replaced a processor and the memory in his computer. We went to the Renaissance Festival. We just came back from Victory Brewing in Pennsylvania. Nice place, good food, really nice beer. And now I'm doing this, so downhill, I guess. I don't know. No, it's been good. You know, I've got today and tomorrow off to hang with my brother. We're going to try some online network games so we can play against each other. Otherwise, taking a break from work, and I go back. And my contract for the editor is in the mail. Which means I have to really, really bunker down and write every night now.
Yep.
So there's that.
Or go to Victory Brewing, one or the other.
Well, I guess I could bring my computer to Victory Brewing, but I'm not sure. I mean, I think there's a fine line between, Hemingway and Neil Breen or Tommy Wiseau. It's kind of a fine line between, I don't know, Storm King and a nice blonde. And by blonde I mean beer. So yeah.
Okay.
I whatever. So yeah, nothing really to report. And I have a copy of Batman Hush sitting on my table downstairs, and I will try to get to that this week. So maybe we can, I can comment about it in the next one.
I want your thoughts before right after you see it, because I haven't seen it yet, and I can get it on Amazon whenever I want, but I'm a little.
They've been hit or miss lately.
Yeah.
A lot of people like Ninja Turtles versus Batman. I didn't really.
I thought totally it was kind of all over the place.
Yes.
That was my one critique on it, because my kid loved the trailer, because that's what he likes to watch, his trailers. And so Michelle and I watched it to preview it, and it was really violent, but also like with the humor skewed very young. So I thought I enjoyed it, but I thought tonally it was a little off.
Yeah, well, that was the thing. It was like, okay, so, you get a scene where somebody gets their head cut off, and you're like, wow, this is brutal. I like this. And the next scene, it's right out of a Looney Tune. So you're like, whoa, all right. But yeah, we'll talk about that.
Maybe that we should do that for next week. We can all make sure we watch Batman Hush. And
I know it's been slow lately. We need to get a few more people. We're usually backed up on interviews. We haven't had an interview in a while, so it might be time to start putting the feelers out again.
Right. But we can review Batman Hush, I think.
I'd like to do that, sure.
All right. Cool. See? Done. So I started my new job.
How is
it? It's okay. I mean, I got...
Let's put it this way. Do they listen to this? Did you tell anybody about this podcast?
Well, you don't... I mean, who's to tell? I mean...
Well, what I'm saying is, if you told somebody about it, then you can't really tell us.
Oh, no.
That's none of their business.
I see what you're saying. No, it's just, when you ever start a new job and have some difficulties with, like, the hardware they gave you or getting on the network or something, and you don't have anyone to talk to but the person you hired, and who hired you, and they're constantly busy.
Oh yeah, the first month I worked at Amazon for Zappos, I didn't have a laptop.
Oh well, there you go. Exactly.
I was getting paid for sitting there.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I've been to a couple meetings, and on the second day I had to sit through a 4-hour meeting about like the future of the company and whatnot. And that was, you know how those are.
Yep.
So, it's just, I'm hoping tomorrow I'm supposed to start learning, like, what I'm actually working on with one of the guys who support it. So, hopefully
if they don't, you could always start a podcast with people you work with.
So, hopefully it picks up. That's all I'm saying. And, of course, we went to the Renaissance Fair this weekend, but on a different day than you, so we didn't have to pretend we liked each other in public.
It's amazing. It's like as soon as I announced I was going, you like switched your day or something.
No. We were always planning to go on Saturday.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, yeah. And it was fun taking the twins, except I haven't been there in like 7 years, and you forget how much walking it is.
Oh, yeah.
And you forget that it's not flat at all. It's a lot of hills, so yeah. I was tired.
A lot of geeks there. I saw cosplay for Ruby. I was sitting there going, wait, something's out of place here. That's not just a knight or, a pirate or whatever. It was a Ruby cosplayer from like Rooster Teeth, Ruby, RWBY. I was like, well, okay, fine. We're bleeding over now. Great. So that means that I'll see some tavern wenches at the next convention. Yeah, comic book convention.
I have no idea what you just said.
It's amazing. Anytime I talk anime, it's like your brain shuts down and you just lose all ability to comprehend.
I feel like one of my kids when I start talking comic books to them, and they look at me with that vacant stare, that 1,000-yard glare. Nobody's home. That's exactly what. And then you mix Renaissance Fair stuff in there, and I was just like Wile E. Coyote when he saw the train coming. He shouldn't be, but he couldn't get out of the way, so he just got hit.
Mm-hmm. Would it help if I said there was a wrestler there? Would that turn your brain back?
Oof.
Yeah, see, mud wrestling. But just, not women wrestling. Just they had the mud people there, and they all wrestle in the mud, and they do this whole skit in the mud, and it's dirty. So not that kind of dirty.
Yes.
Just never mind. Let's continue.
It's probably the dirtiest show at the Renaissance Fair that doesn't have dirty jokes in it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Moving on.
So that was my weekend. I'm tired. I'm not 25 anymore. So all right. So we can now continue on with everyone's favorite part of the show and see how our audience is doing. A little social media madness.
Speaking of our brains hurting, go ahead.
Well,
say goodbye to mine soon.
So we had talked about Kevin Smith, and he's going to be doing the new He-Man cartoon coming up. And the Masters of the Universe.
I, for one, can't wait to see him put on a wig and whip out the sword.
Whoa.
Oh my God.
Feel a bit all of a sudden.
So Mark Anthony said, Kevin Smith is one of the few people who made me laugh that it hurts. He's great. Not sure that's still a ringing endorsement that he's the right person to do the He-Man cartoon. Shane Beauregard said, I have faith in him. He will do it right.
You probably should have put that in a southern accent, though.
And the podcast said, I'm hopeful.
I agree with the podcast. I'm hopeful, but then, our hopes have been dashed so many times that it's one of those things where you're like, I'm hopeful, but I'm also expecting. So,
I think Netflix has done most of these television programs, animated and live action, fairly well. So there's nothing that leads me to believe this will go bad.
Yeah, I know. And Kevin Smith is involved. So I guess that means that there's a chance. Some of the Netflix stuff has gone off the rails. But you're right. For the most part, like on the anime side of things and the animated side of things, they've done pretty well. So we'll see.
You like Castlevania, right?
Oh, of course. No, that was done incredibly well.
Yeah, same team. So we should be fine.
I guess you haven't watched all of the Adam Sandler Netflix original movies.
Or any.
I like my intelligence where it is. Yeah, no. Well, we'll see. I'm good.
Why, John? It can only go up for you. Anyway.
True.
We also talked about how Linda Carter has said that she will not be reprising the role of Wonder Woman in the Arrowverse Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover, but that how they're hopeful to get someone from Smallville to be part of the crossover. And the Pittsburgh Nerd Podcast said, I think it would be fun to see Smallville version of Green Arrow show up. Justin Hartley.
Yeah, but Justin Hartley was like the cosplay version of a real Green Arrow.
Yeah, because Stephen Amell has done such a good job, I think he'll just seem silly.
Yeah, he would.
Yeah, well, I think that's part of the point, though, isn't it? I asked, is he too busy doing This Is Us? They're going into the last season.
True.
And then, of course, Pittsburgh Nerd replied, I'm sure that's the case, but it would have been fun. And then Binge Movies said, I agree that Smallville's Green Arrow would have been cool. Maybe Michael Rosenbaum as Lex Luthor, which...
Want to hear a hot take?
Yeah.
Sure.
Michael Rosenbaum is the best live-action Lex Luthor.
Controversial opinions. No,
I know. I'll give it to you. Go ahead. What do you say?
That's why it's a hot take.
Yes.
Okay. Right. No, I agree. I agree completely.
Yeah, I think everyone agrees. Because your other options are Kevin Spacey.
Hackman.
Kevin Spacey.
Kevin Spacey was bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Well, he also had Gene Hackman. He was like, Gene Hackman. And the dude that played him on Lois and Clark, whose name escapes me.
Yeah.
He was all right.
He was okay. He wasn't bald, though.
No, it was weird. Neither was Gene Hackman, though, so.
Well, no, but they did the joke where he was wearing a wig.
Right, but that's because he didn't actually want to be bald.
Right. But at least they made a reference to it in the show.
That's true.
In the movie, so.
That is true.
And then the last thing that we'll talk about in social media madness is the Matrix 4 has been officially announced. We talked about that, of course. And the Gorilla Brain podcast said, we all saw Reloaded and Revolutions. This is beyond a cash grab. Then they also replied with a gif of a girl throwing up.
That's on point. Okay.
And then Random Randy
I've ever seen.
And then Random Randy Savage replied with a gif of I don't know if that's kid supposed to be excited or constipated.
He's just kind of shaking his head back and forth.
Constipated.
Shout out to the guy with the name of Random Randy Savage. That is savage.
Well, he is one of the hosts of the Cult 45 podcast.
Oh, I've never heard their show. That's awesome, though.
How dare you?
I don't like listening to shows that sound like ours because I feel like I don't want to rip off material.
This is true.
But all of our material's ripped off. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to mention.
Mine's not ripped off. I'm out here with the fresh hot takes.
But speaking of the Gorilla Brain podcast and Random Randy of the Colt 45, those podcasts are members of the Geek World All-Stars Podcast Network, which we are also proud members of. And of course, it also includes So Wizard, the Pop Prism Power podcast, and Fans on Patrol. You guys should check all of us out on Twitter and your favorite podcasting apps. So, haha, see how I did that, guys? Smooth.
I keep my eyes closed during the podcast, so no.
Oh, okay. So on that note, I think we'll take a commercial break, and we'll be right back with the news.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
And we're back.
Believe in love. Oh, the wrong news. I thought you meant Huey Lewis.
Oh boy, we are off tonight. We are.
Do you believe in love?
I do.
Do you believe it's true?
Okay, we could just no.
You're actually from the 80s. You don't like Huey Lewis?
Oh, I did not say that. I would not take their name in vain. No. I'm just like, I think I was the one who just came back from a bar, and yet I feel like the most sober person here right now.
Nah.
I have cabin fever, if that levels that out.
All right. I think it's time for the news. So, we had D23 this past weekend, and some interesting Marvel and Star Wars news came out of that. Starting with Tom Holland and Kevin Feige both addressed the Spider-Man Sony issue.
Did they fight? Is that how they addressed it?
No, it was interesting. They both basically said the same thing. Oh, well, it was a great run. We got 5 really great movies with the character. Blah, 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 blah. And then, I'm sorry, Tom Holland said that he was excited to continue on playing Spider-Man. And, in fact, the pitch for Spider-Man 3 has already been given, and he's looking forward to moving forward. And, what was the other thing? That, they both, who's the director of the last 2 movies?
John Watts.
Yeah, John Watts. Both Sony and Marvel, or Disney, want John Watts to continue directing the movies. So,
that's great, but, I mean, if the news story is already pitched, though, it's going to sound something like they did with the Screen Rant script pitch thing with basically everything being thrown out because it's all MCU.
So I have a theory. I've heard that argument too, but I think that at the end of Spider-Man 3, they do leave us in a fairly MCU-less position when you think about it.
You mean 2?
Yeah, sorry, the end of 2. The end of 2 sets us up into a fairly MCU-less Spider-Man 3.
Well, he's still got the Stark suit, though.
But he could lose that. I mean, he could have the suit and never reference where it comes from. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to.
That's we went through that with the Netflix shows where, the mentioning everything happening in the Marvel universe, mentioning anything happening in the universe was, everything was just so deeply buried in innuendo that it didn't feel like they were connected at all. And it just feels cheap and stupid to me. This whole thing is cheap and stupid to me.
If it's essentially the same crew that works on the movie, it's John Watts' crew
and all other old man stuff.
Like if it's his people, like they could just because J. Jonah Jameson is going to be like the behind the scenes antagonist, and we just don't talk about because really he's cut off from the Avengers at this point.
So
yeah.
So well, I'm still going to reiterate what I said last time. I think there's a lot involved. Like the character came in Civil War, and there are a lot of MCU things that are tied to building the character to where he got to.
Yep.
And I know you can write a story without referencing them, but it's going to seem weird.
It is.
Especially like how do you live in a world where no one mentions the snap, anymore? Like that's a big thing that happened to all these people.
Or happy. How do you do it without mentioning happy? I mean, it's basically a part of their lives.
Summer romance done with Aunt May.
Oh, please.
You know, he's now a fugitive. I mean, it could be done.
It could be done, but I don't think one of two things. It's either going to seem weird, or they're going to get to a point where it's like, they're going to throw story ideas out because they can't reference things, and then they might just end up going, oh, well, let's just reboot it.
I like Screen Rant's take on it. It's like they're doing the pitch meeting, and the Sony guy's like, okay, so first we're going to go back and we're going to bring on Uncle Ben. Then we're going to kill that bastard. People love when we kill that bastard.
But I think they're just going to move on and move forward. They're going to pick up because we do have the status quo now with Peter as a vigilante, essentially, with people like on the run from the law. Like if he's doing that, it might be hard to reference what's going on in the Marvel universe. Like they could make it work.
It's not. There's no way he could get through an entire couple of scenes without mentioning, how he worries about having to replace Stark and why people were picking him to do that. It's just going to be too weird.
So the thing is, too, I read some more about what was going on, and I find the opinions online very interesting about this. Like, some people are just upset that it's happening, but, like, some people are taking Marvel's side, and some people are taking Sony's side, and I'm like...
Well, it's both their fault, really.
Well, I'm saying, like, it's interesting because, like, from what and maybe you guys saw something different, the way the deal works now is, Marvel gets 5% of the gross, and Sony gets the rest of it. And Marvel wanted to renegotiate it so that it was a 50-50 split.
Well, it was 5% of the first day gross, which, you could expand out to maybe the opening weekend if you fudged the numbers a bit, but it was only 5% of the opening gross.
Oh, okay.
And then the rest is basically it. But then, it's almost they both wanted to end the relationship, because what's the first thing you do when somebody comes to you with a proposal? You haggle with them. That's what businesses do with this stuff. So, there was no haggling, apparently. It was just, no, I'm taking my superhero and going home. And that was it.
Right. And like I said, from things I've read, it's almost like Sony is coming off as like, yeah, we made $1 billion off this, so we don't need Marvel anymore.
Exactly.
And the fact that Venom made so much money is like they're kind of like, oh, we figured this out now.
Right, but they really didn't. They just they're riding the Marvel coattail, and that's what they're not seeing.
Yeah.
So it just made me wonder, like, well, and then the other article that I saw this past weekend was also Keystone Comic-Con, which was here in Philly, but we didn't go to.
Next year. I think we're swapping from Wizard World to Keystone.
Right. But regardless of that, the one of the things the convention told goers, like people who came into the panel before Tom Holland came out, was like, don't ask him about the Sony Marvel split over Spider-Man. It could ruin negotiations, as if saying negotiations are still going on.
Translation: Tom Holland is an open sieve, and if you ask him something, he may answer you.
And then the article went on to say that people did ask him, and he basically repeated exactly what he said at D23, as if it was a scripted answer that he was told. This is what you're going to tell people if they ask you about it.
Did you say it in a month? Go ahead.
He's got a reputation.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's kind of acting like the kid whose parents are getting divorced, and he really wants to go live with dad, but he has to live with mom, but he really doesn't want to.
Well, because dad's much more fun.
That's like dad's got a Harley. He's got this cool place. He's got this cool apartment.
All of his friends live in that neighborhood.
All his friends. He's got all the better toys.
Right. He gets to stay up late and watch TV. They eat pizza. Mom's going to make him brush his teeth and, eat vegetables.
There you go.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
All right, well.
Poor Tom.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, the best iteration of Spider-Man we've gotten, and Sony's, well.
Maybe he'll get to play.
Again, they both.
Maybe he'll get to play Marvel's new character, Night Monkey.
Oh, God.
I saw that meme flown around.
Yeah, I saw it too.
It's a bummer, man. I mean, like, part of me just wonders now, because we didn't just lose Captain America and Iron Man, but we lose Captain America, Iron Man, and Spider-Man. This is a big blow to Marvel.
I know. It's what could they do to fill our Spider-Man hole? Oh, they could give us 3 new characters with their own series on Disney Plus.
They make that you have to pay for to get.
We have to pay to watch the movie too, man.
Right, you have to pay to watch the movie too. So we've got.
You only pay once to watch the movie. This is going to be a monthly prescription, a monthly subscription.
Oh, you're going to get it. Stop whining. You know you're going to do it.
I know, but I can complain about it because I'm going to get it.
So at D23, they announced that Miss Marvel, Moon Knight, and She-Hulk will all be getting their own series on Disney Plus.
Fascinating.
I'm digging it, especially Moon Knight.
Yes, it'll be interesting to see, and it's funny because these are characters. I mean, I know that I've said I wanted to see Moon Knight, and I've said I think he can do something great with She-Hulk before. So I'm really excited about these ideas. A lot of people wanted to see Moon Knight, so it just shows that Marvel does listen to their fans.
I still don't get the Moon Knight thing, but okay.
He's Batman, but people say he's crazy Batman. Well, he's not. He's disturbed, and he's got a like this thing about Moon Knight is they kind of steer into the some writers steer into the crazy aspect of him, some steer into like the split personality aspect of him. Like there's a lot going on with Moon Knight, and he fights werewolves and stuff like that too. So I mean, there's a lot of cool places you can go with a Moon Knight book or Moon Knight series. Excuse me.
So chances of Doctor Strange showing up
decent.
Yeah.
Do you see the art floating around? That reminds me of Doctor Strange. Do you see the art floating around for WandaVision?
Oh.
It depends. What specific art are you talking about? Because I've seen some art, and I've had to basically like do a 7-layer wipe on my computer so I don't get arrested. There are certain places on the internet you should not look right now for that. Jesus,
that's not what I meant. Marvel put out a nice little Jesus, I can't even think of a sentence now. one sheet with 50s looking. It's Vision and Scarlet Witch sitting, or Wanda and I forget what they call Vision. I forget what his human name is. Sitting on a couch in the 50s, and in the background you see the shadow of Scarlet Witch and Vision. It looks cool.
So, moral of the story is: do not go to any chain divisible by 4 to see pictures for WandaVision.
Wow.
Oh God. Anyway, yes, no, I did see. I did see it. It's supposed to feel like a definitely that 50s feel. Who's the artist?
It's got a Phil Noto vibe to it, but I don't know who you were thinking of. Like Rockwell, is that what you meant?
Yes.
It looks like Rockwell. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. I'm looking at it right now.
I think it actually looks more like something like Phil Noto would draw, but it definitely has that Rockwell vibe to it. I like the shadow play in the far left corner. Like, it's cool.
Neat.
Yeah, that could be a good show, man. I'm excited by that one.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think we're going to get a lot of good shows, and maybe those characters, these new characters will end up on the big screen at some point.
No, I don't think so.
No? You don't think so?
I think that's why we're putting them on TV.
Yeah, but I think if the shows are popular enough, there'll be background characters in some.
Oh yeah, okay, fair enough. Background characters, that makes sense.
Yeah, think of the Endgame scene, and if Moon Knight, She-Hulk, and Miss Marvel had shown up, for a second, and that, like everyone wanted the Netflix heroes to show up.
That didn't happen. Yeah.
Don't cry, John. Don't cry. Stop crying.
I just want everything to be perfect, man.
Well, that's not.
Why can't we all just get along?
That is not going to happen. Nothing's going to be perfect. Especially now that
sludge of mediocrity to the next.
Yes.
Oh, so yeah. Speaking of mediocrity, Star Wars.
Wow, I'm so shocked that you're so down on this. Go ahead. Let's do this.
No, they just the last 2 movies have had almost nothing to do with each other. There's no coherent, overarching storyline.
Right,
there's been so many bad plot holes and whatnot that
So they confirmed they definitely confirmed the Obi-Wan Kenobi solo series is going to be on Disney Plus. What I found was interesting is it's supposed to take place when he's a young man, before the prequels.
Strapping young man throwing his saber around.
So they're going to be using the de-aging technology on him.
Oh, God.
In the show. And it's
Are they really?
Yeah.
That's going to be expensive.
I was going to say. So, like, now, is that my question was when I was reading that, is the entire series going to be that, or is that going to be the first episode or two?
Maybe the first episode or two. I don't see why you cast Ewan McGregor if you want a guy who's 20 years younger than him.
Right, you would cast someone 20 years younger that looks like him.
Right. I think they're not. I refuse to believe that they're going to do that for the entire show. There's no way.
Yeah, that would be odd. So, but yeah, they said all the scripts are written and they will begin filming early next year. So
sweet.
They could just do it only to taunt DC.
Huh?
It's like you had Swamp Thing and you couldn't make that work with the budget, but we can spend twice as much and have a whole series. We're just going to use the de-aging process on this whole series just to show you what we can do.
We hired an 80-year-old actor who's playing a 15-year-old.
Let's see you.
Damn your Swamp Thing. Damn him to hell. Oh.
They actually did that, so that happened. Okay.
All right. Did you guys... Okay, before we get to the main trailer, did you watch the trailer for The Mandalorian?
Like 10 times.
Yeah?
Yep.
It's a fistful of credits.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
I like that. That's good. You're right.
It's like... It's an Eastwood Western movie with Boba Fett, but not really Boba Fett.
No. In fact, they have confirmed Boba Fett won't be in this series.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Boba Fett's helmet anyway.
Well, it takes place after Jedi, so...
That's what I'm saying. He's just a helmet. Like, that's what's cool about Boba Fett. They got the cool part about Boba Fett.
Yes. And Ming-Na Wen's going to be in there from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
As is Werner Herzog. That's what.
Yeah, sure.
Werner Herzog, one of the greatest living filmmakers of the 20th century. Sorry.
Oh.
You ever see Fitzcarraldo? Man made a movie about people in the Amazon pulling a boat over a mountain by pulling a boat over a mountain.
Ugh.
Okay. Credit to that.
It's awesome. Like they hired natives to do it, and one of them offered to murder Klaus Kinski, and they said hold that, and they started rolling the camera and said make maybe offer again, and they worked it into the story. Man's a genius. Grizzly Man, the documentary about the guy who goes to live with the grizzly bears.
Yeah,
he's amazing, and I don't know why he's in the Star Wars TV show, but he's got an awesome German accent. I'm accepting of it.
Okay. Yeah, no, I mean, and the Mandalorian doesn't even speak in the trailer, does he?
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, it'll be hard to do a whole movie like that, though. I mean, you basically lose two of the ways you can emotionally connect with an audience. You can't see his facial expression, and you can't hear him speak.
Well, it makes me wonder, is it going to be like one of those stories where somebody's narrating it, and like he shows up and does stuff? Because he's telling these stories of this Mandalorian who comes in and kills people or traps them in carbonite.
He'll talk probably a little bit. Like, again, I want to see him like the Man with No Name. He didn't cut a lot of, he wasn't talking a lot. Like that particular Clint Eastwood character. He just glared at people and did badass stuff. Like, if that's what they're giving us, I'm fine with that. Like, if we're going to have a cold-blooded cowboy movie, give me a cold-blooded cowboy movie with lasers. Perfectly fine with that.
And who else thought when they saw the carbonite show up at first, it was going to be Han? And it's like, wait a minute, no, that's not Han.
I did that too. I did the double take.
And I'm like, oh, so they're going to reuse that. Interesting.
I mean, why not? I mean, when you think about it, what a great weapon for a bounty hunter to have. They ain't going to escape when you get them.
Right.
Like in Midnight Run, the movie with De Niro and Charles Grodin where he plays the bounty hunter and he keeps trying to have to chase the guy down. So you don't got to do that if you freeze him in ice.
No, carbonite.
Oh, I just had a brilliant idea.
Okay.
What if it was all narration? They could hire Morgan Freeman. Here we have the Mandalorian.
if they're paying Werner Herzog, I want to hear his dreary German voice narrating this guy shooting people throughout the Outer Rim, and it would be just art.
Yeah, but it would also be cool to have Morgan Freeman narrating, like he did with March of the Penguins.
Oh my god!
No.
No, Morgan Freeman.
I'm excited. I'm excited by The Mandalorian. I think I'm probably more looking forward to that on Disney Plus than anything else.
Yeah?
Yeah, I am.
Anything else?
Yeah, I really am. This one excites me more than any of the Marvel shows.
Fascinating.
I think it looks great.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
You're like drank a big old glass of Haterade before the show.
I don't know. I am just, you know the Teen Titans thing. Why aren't people whelmed? Right now, I am just whelmed.
Yeah.
I'm not overwhelmed. I'm just whelmed. And
then, of course, we have to talk about John's favorite thing. They released another trailer for Rise of the Skywalker, which probably left me with more questions than answers. And, someone else pointed this out too. It's over 2 minutes long, but only 40 seconds of it is of footage for the new movie.
Yeah, I thought that was a nice little curveball.
Yeah, cheap.
But that's what they do. Like, you don't get in Star Wars trailers, they never, ever reveal the plot.
I know, but in the new Star Wars movies, never, ever reveal a real plot either. So, I guess it's...
my God.
I guess it's even, right?
What flavor Haterade did you drink?
Sour balls. I think I speak for the masses and say it looks great. It looks awesome. It looks emotional. There's great shots in it. It's got the cool JJ cinematography, sans lens flare.
Yeah.
I like it. I'm excited. I mean, I don't know anything, but I don't want to know anything. I don't want to know anything about this movie going in. They're going to wrap up the Skywalker saga. I don't know what that means, but I'm curious. Why are you so poopy pants on this one, John?
Because they have nothing to wrap up. They have no target to wrap up. The last two movies have basically told us absolutely nothing. They were discordant. They were all over the place. They were full of people doing weird shit for no reason other than pushing a plot. You can't get vested in them.
You literally just described every Star Wars movie ever made.
I did not.
Those movies are all about plot, very little about character.
No.
Yeah.
Last Hope and everything. The only reason that Han Solo and Chewie were so popular was because of the personality that they presented to you through the movie.
Because of acting. Because Harrison Ford is a great actor. That's why. The scripts are terrible.
Yeah.
The George Lucas scripts are horrible. You can't. The dialogue is just. It's got as Harrison Ford said, the rhythm of typing, and it's if you are not inundated into Star Wars, it's hard to follow what's going on.
And yet they're still better than I hate sand. And well, why don't you tell me the plan so I don't try to overtake the whole ship? It cause a mutiny. I mean.
We've had this discussion before because it wasn't he didn't have to know about it because he didn't matter.
Well, he proved them wrong because he obviously did matter when he tried to take the ship.
Well, he's lucky he's not dead.
Yeah,
he should have been on the brig and executed for that.
Right, because the plot writers said, "Well, we'll just make them like him so much because he's so cute that they won't execute him."
Yeah, I agree with that. That was weak, but again, these movies are full of just stuff happening. Star Wars is fortunate that it has talented people. The original trilogy is fortunate that it has talented people that are acting in it.
Right.
Because there's a lot of giant holes in this movie, in those three movies, that work because the imagination is great and it was well casted. They're very much plot over character movies. There's a lot of we're doing this because the plot tells us to do it, but because it's executed so well, we accept it.
Right. And that's what the prequels were, which were all George Lucas, having to listen to trade negotiations.
Yes. The problem with the prequels is I don't think they are nearly as well casted. You know? They didn't do a good enough job casting Anakin, and as Natalie Portman's got a ton of personality, but they never come through in those movies because Lucas isn't a good director. Like, he doesn't draw performances out of people. Like, if you're good at movies, you're good in spite of him, not because of him. You know?
Natalie Portman was a complete waste. There was no doubt about that.
They didn't do anything with it. They didn't do anything. Hayden Christensen in that one other movie he made was a lot better. But I mean, like, again, like, Luke just kind of broods, and the music carries it. In the first Star Wars, he whines like a little bitch. And Harrison Ford just oozes charisma. Like, a lesser actor would have just made Han Solo a pointless character. Like, those movies are just lightning, especially the first one, it's lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
And I don't hate on these last two movies as much as some. Are they perfect? No, but there's no perfect Star Wars movie. Just entertain me for 3 hours. It's a movie. It's not my religion.
Well, it's the Jedi, so they are a religion, really, actually. And a real religion in England, as a matter of fact. So.
Okay, I like this show. I know the people we're talking to, but them dudes is nerds.
They're nerds.
Like hardcore nerds. Like we're all on kind of the bottom of that nerd food chain, but we can step on them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Religious Jedi dweeb. Get down there. I don't know, man. Like I said, maybe I just don't expect anything from these movies other than to be entertained for a couple hours and make me feel happy and smile.
Right.
Sure.
So, I mean, it's interesting because you get the two, again, Luke voiceover saying, "This is your story now," and then the Emperor saying, "Your story's coming to an end." You assume one's talking to Rey, one's talking to Kylo.
But who's talking to who?
Right, we don't know.
What do you think about that last shot?
Well, that's what we were discussing when you got on the line here. It's like, what is that? Is it a vision, or
is it a clone?
Right, or is it a clone?
Well, considering Disney owns them, it could be Vision.
And why would you waste that cool switchblade tool bladed lightsaber on a Vision?
True.
To get nerds like us talking.
Oh.
Which it did.
Yeah, mission accomplished.
Yep.
They know how to market. There's one thing you cannot fight Disney on. They know how to sell us something. Because we're not all going to be there at opening night.
Yeah, this is true.
Damn, you're right about that. I hate the idea, but I am going to be there opening night. Damn it.
Because they do a good enough job. Like, even though you have your doubts, you got to see it.
I don't have doubts. I have actual hate, but I mean, jeez.
But that's the thing, though. We got to see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I do think this was a cheap-ass trailer. Don't get me wrong. There is, like you said, 40 seconds of new footage. The new footage looks great. I have no idea what's going on.
Right.
And that's all by design. This is on a need-to-know basis, and I don't need to know shit.
Why does C-3PO have red eyes?
Because he's angry.
Angry PO, okay.
Or high, one or the other. I haven't figured out which.
But, I mean, that is one of those things, too, because it's like, it kind of looks like a cool shot and makes you think for a second, but it's going to end up being nothing in the movie.
Probably right. It's probably just how he's programmed now, because he had a red leg before.
Arm,
sorry.
And everyone kept, like, that's the whole thing with the marketing. They show him with the red arm, and everyone's like, why has he got a red arm? Why has he got a red
What's
arm?
What's it mean? Like, we don't know.
Right. They never address it. It's like, oh, okay.
It's like he had the silver leg in Jedi, and I was like,
yes.
Oh, he just has a silver leg now. It's just a thing.
Yep. It's just there.
Well, considering the way things are going, we will get a movie in a couple of years of the backstory for the silver leg and the red arm.
I don't think we're going to get backstory Star Wars movies anymore. Like, I think Solo might have killed that.
Yeah.
So it did something good?
No, I think that's why you're getting the Obi-Wan show on Disney Plus, because they basically said after Solo, oh, we're not going to do movies, even though they had talked about doing a Obi-Wan Kenobi movie. So, yeah, I think that's it, you know.
Okay, I'm good. Like, I pitched last week on the show, I'd rather see, like, more of these shows as opposed to just 2-hour movies. I just think we get more out of them.
Yeah. This is true. And I do think there is Star Wars fatigue.
I agree.
Oh, yeah.
They tried to give us too much. They tried to milk that cash cow for too much.
When Andy has a big eventful day, we get to do a lot of stuff, and he comes home crabby. Too much birthday.
Yep. Too much birthday.
So, do they do this 3 shows on Plus and wait it out and see how it does?
I guess. I mean, I would assume so. What else are they going to do, right?
I don't know.
They got to keep. It's like you said. People are starting to get burned out on it, and yet they still have this huge property that they want to make money off of. And if I remember correctly, the was it the Star Wars theme park part of Disney that it didn't do so well, or it wasn't doing as well as they thought?
I hadn't heard that. I heard that
Those are long-term things, man. Like,
oh yeah,
people are going to go. Maybe I don't know.
I heard that hotel was booked up for a year that they're building at the park, and it wasn't even finished yet.
Well, yeah, I mean, that was going to happen regardless but that's sight unseen, you know? I don't know. I heard something about the numbers not being what they thought it was going to be.
I also wonder if that's just because the cost of going to these parks is high, you know?
Right.
Well, yeah, these days it's ridiculous.
It is. So there's a lot of factors. I mean, Disney certainly made back that $4 billion, but I do think they have to make sure they don't, murder the golden goose and disembowel it and leave its entrails all over the place.
Right.
Yeah, here it is. Disney reportedly cut employees' hours due to low Star Wars Galaxy's Edge attendance. So
where's the source?
That's Cinema Blend.
Okay.
So, and I know I read it somewhere else too. So that's at least one corroboration.
Yeah, but I don't know. My question is, were they anticipating, 1 million people and they're only getting 900,000? Oh, well, or 750,000?
Yeah. Well, if we put it in terms that everybody who's ever been to a Disney park can understand, they were expecting the lines for the rides to be over 2 hours long, but they have been only half an hour or less.
Huh.
So, I mean, yeah, but it could be a whole bunch of reasons. It could also be people, like, I know my brother's planning to go, but not till February, because he was like, I'm not going when it first opens because it'll be wall-to-wall people. But
and
a lot
it's also summer in Florida sucks. Sorry,
Right.
Florida.
It does. Yeah, especially these days.
So, yeah, I mean, I know there's probably people who are planning to wait, we'll see. Yeah, and JD's right. It's a long-term thing. It's not like,
They're not going to rip it down next year if it doesn't do what they wanted.
Right.
Like, you could decade plus of having this thing.
Yeah.
They're constantly going to tweak. They're going to constantly tweak and add stuff to it.
Mm. Well, and like I said, they'll need to drive it with the property in the media. So they'll be coming out with new shows or trying to, keep these shows going. And I mean, they have to use money to make money at this point with that theme park.
Well, that's what I wonder if it's not a safer investment going into your app right now, in your streaming service, than putting out a movie. Because like these shows are expensive, but I don't think they're costing as much as these 2.5-hour movies.
Right.
Yeah. And so you get 10 episodes. Like, let's be real, that Kenobi thing's not going to be done for a year, best case scenario. So in 2019, we're going to have this movie, and then in 2020, we're going to get The Mandalorian, and then probably 2021, we get another show. And I think that a show is also more digestible than a big event tentpole movie. Mm-hmm. So I think it might be a more sound strategy for them to keep small, I don't know.
True. And I also, I know this is going to sound weird, but I think, yes, Star Wars is super popular, but I kind of think they didn't estimate, the people going to Disney, the Star Wars fans are a subset of the Disney fans.
Yes. Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think there's people that go, I will not go to Disney unless there's a Star Wars. I think there's people that are going to Disney and going, hey, Star Wars.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't think you're adding – I agree with that. I think that if you like amusement parks, you're going to go. If you don't want to go to an amusement park like this guy right here, you're not going to go until your 4-year-old tells you have to go.
Exactly. Which will be sooner than you realize.
That's why it's 4, because I figure I got another year.
Yeah. In all honesty, you want to wait till they're an age where they're going to remember it, because
Agreed.
Yeah, it's a waste of money. My daughter went when she was 3, and she's like, I don't remember that at all. My wife's like, that was such a waste of money.
I was 9. I went to Disney World once. I was 9, and I remember everything. So that works for me.
Well, there you go. So somewhere after 3 and around 9.
I sang on stage in Disney World, so I remember it pretty well.
You sang on stage?
Yeah.
Hall of Presidents?
Yeah, sure. No, Country Bears. They needed a stand-in, and I just happened to be there.
Were you sober?
No. I was with the choir for college. We were there for the Magic Music Days.
Oh, so you definitely weren't sober.
No, absolutely not. Are you kidding me? But then again, most of the alcohol consumption at that point was chloroseptic. Because, it was harsh on the throats.
Oh, okay. I thought you were drinking chloroseptic.
Well, we literally were drinking chloroseptic.
But I thought you were doing it to get drunk. Like, you were that desperate.
No, well, yeah. Well, we were college kids, so I'm sure somebody was.
I've seen college kids drink Scope because they ran out of alcohol.
Oh, my God. That's gross.
and not really healthy.
No, not at all.
So, moving on back at the plot. What is there?
Plot?
Exactly my point. Thank you.
Oh, another thing. I don't remember who I was talking to, but someone, I don't know if I saw this online or I was talking to someone and they were talking about, going to the Disney. I think I saw this online. Someone complaining online. Like, oh, yeah, they got lightsabers and droids, but you got to pay extra for them. And it's like, have you never been to an amusement park?
I think some people haven't been to an amusement park.
Yeah.
I mean,
I do think there's people that never went and have no idea that you basically have to take out a short-term loan to go.
And it never used to be that way. I mean, one of the first times that I was at Disney World, we stayed in the Contemporary Resort Hotel. That was before it became so expensive that you needed to be a millionaire in order to even get a reservation.
Well, yeah, I mean, I agree that the price of the hotels are ridiculous, but I'm just saying it's not like you could go into the souvenir or gift shops and they gave you stuff for free. Like,
true.
You had to pay. You always had to pay for it.
But those mouse-eared ice cream pops never used to cost like $10 a pop.
That's crazy.
I don't know.
Yeah,
everything
there is really, really super expensive.
I get the meal plan, so I don't think about it.
Well, it's probably wise.
Yeah. Yes. I highly recommend anyone who's going to Disney, go during the off season, and if you book through AAA, you can get the meal plan for free.
Hey, that is a good notes.
Yes. And it was funny because it was one of those things where I'm reading everything that came with the meal plan. I'm like, is this going to be enough food? We had credits left over at the end. We were just getting snacks to take on the plane with us.
Nice.
So, anyway, yes, that's a piece of advice from me to our fans.
Thanks, man.
So,
us young parents appreciate that.
John, are you going to go see Rise of the Skywalker?
Oh, I said I'd see it. I didn't say I'd like it, but I'll go see it.
There you go. There's how to not be judgmental about a movie before you've seen it.
No.
Way to go. Mind 6 months.
Oh, I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt. I will probably almost not like it.
I'll call that a win and move on.
So this is what I'm getting at. I'm curious, like, even if it's the best movie ever made, which I'm not saying it's going to be, are you still going to hate on it?
Yes.
No, I mean, well, we'll see, right? I mean, again, they've got sand to build on. So what's that?
You said they got sand to build on. So yes, it's Tatooine. There's a lot of sand.
Oh, nice. Okay, points for you.
I thought that's why you were making that analogy.
Right.
well, no, but thanks for accidental analogies. Perfect. So, I just really they could literally do any plot they want right now, and it wouldn't matter because it would make about as much sense as the last two films, and it would be as the continuity, however you want to say it. It would be make as much sense. You could introduce Godzilla into it, and it would make as much sense.
I'd watch that movie.
Actually, that would make it a good movie.
Well, I heard the Guardians of the Galaxy show up in this one, so
I would also watch that movie.
You know what we need? We need a Star Wars 1984 where they find Earth.
I would also watch that movie. This is great. You just gave Disney $3 million ideas.
Well, yeah, we'll find out tomorrow when we hear that Disney bought Toei Animation or was it Toho Entertainment to get Godzilla.
Did you see the new Godzilla movie, John? By the way, that came out.
What's
summer?
that?
Did you see the Godzilla movie that came out this summer? I missed it.
King of the Monsters?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course it did.
Was good?
Yeah, it was good. It's a good watch.
Feel bad.
Yeah, just get ready to be completely incredulous as to how the human beings are always right near his feet while he's fighting other monsters, and yet none of them get stomped on, ever.
That's because they think that's because the filmmakers think we care about people in these movies. Like, the people just slow it down.
I know, right? I mean, the old movies had it right, where they just cut to a few people talking and maybe they were basically there just to tell you monsters were fighting. And then they left it to the fighting monsters, which was awesome.
Or the one guy turned into the knockoff Ultraman.
Oh, yes.
But I forget which one.
Megalon. And
Megalon. I was right. Yes,
Yeah.
That's what I want. I don't want, like, Raymond Burr. Like, I'm good with just some random dudes or the twins.
Raymond Burr was just there because they needed to have Americans. They needed to cut Americans into the original Godzilla movie to get it to them. Yeah. They needed him to sing the exposition song.
See, it's funny because that actually is a thing.
I know.
That's funny. I really like that one.
The exposition song.
That's what the twins do. Like the Mothra twins, they do that a lot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Japan is a different place, man.
Yes, it is. All right.
So it's a slow news week. There's cool news, but there's not a lot of it.
Right. Yeah.
Is DC Comics still a thing?
Oh, God.
For now. There's still a thing for now. We didn't talk about that.
What?
Tom King. He killed Alfred.
Is that official?
I haven't heard any follow up, and I haven't read the book yet. But they did kill him in a book. Broke his neck, and everyone I know that works in the industry went, "Oh, look, they killed Alfred again." So,
and I think that's the problem. Is like anytime a writer, and I like Tom King, so I think this is actually beneath him, and I'm hoping he has a long term plan for this. I'm sure he does. I'm gonna let it slide. But that's the thing, is I just said, I'll let it slide. 10 years ago, I might have gotten a little worked up over this. But I mean, like, that's the thing, is anytime they need to make a story feel like something, well, someone's got to die. Right. It's like that, and it makes me feel bad that's the only emotion that we can draw out of people. Isn't sadness for death, but nerd rage.
Yeah.
Well, Batman got his back broken by Bane, so maybe Alfred will get better, too.
But again, that's 25 years ago. So we're gonna keep going to this well over and over again. Like Endgame worked. I think I've done this rant before, so I won't go through the whole thing. But Endgame worked because we don't see them die very often, and when it happened, we felt it and didn't really know what it meant. In comics, we all know they're gonna come back.
Right.
So what's the point? Why bother doing these stories that you're not gonna stick with, that aren't gonna matter in the long run?
Yeah, but somebody that I know was referring to, they had actually killed Alfred off in the 60s, and he was going to stay dead. But because of the popularity of the show, and Alfred being part of it, that they brought him back in the comics.
Yeah, because I think they thought it was a little too gay in the 60s with the three guys living on their own. People were talking, so we had to kill that guy.
Well, and that's also why you got Aunt Harriet in the TV show.
Oh, right.
It's so... the comic industry, so the more things change, the more they stay the same.
Right. Well, that's why in the Incredible Hulk TV show, they don't call him Bruce. He goes by David, his middle name, because...
sounded too gay.
Bruce was too gay for the time.
Isn't that ridiculous?
Yes. Very, very much so. It shows you how far our society has come.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Although there were some questionable comic panels back in the day.
Oh, of course.
Like the one with Bruce and Dick in bed together, and it's like, yeah, that's a little weird.
That's a little... I'm not going to say it. All right.
Yeah, that was a little weird.
On that note, boys and girls, I think we can put a pin in it for this week. So, as always, thanks for listening. And don't let your cape get caught in the door. Have a good week.